a shotgun, make for the hills in the mist. Rebels raised hell with the rising sun. What is left but the cold metal kids? Blood is running, blood is running. Bury my soul in the mountain stone top. One more river for the killer with the heart stop. Bury my soul in the mountain stone top. One more river for the killer with the heart stop. Gonna do what I was born to do. Ride a live wire in the rush. Your life is yours own to do as you choose. Go on and ride in the rush. Blood is running. Blood is running. Blood is running. Bury my soul in the mountain stone top. One more river for the killer with the heart stop. Bury my soul in the mountain stone top. One more river for the killer with the heart stop.
Switched up the songs on you guys. I like that song. You guys like that song? It's Steve Franson. He's a good artist. I like his music. I like his books. You guys probably won't like his books because you're a bunch of fucking SJW Facebook fuckers. But he likes to write about reality, like actual good reality, not perceived, made up bullshit. And that's kind of where we're at, I think, in the world. It's funny because I have a buddy, he used to come on these lives with me and talk about certain topics, and we agree for the most part. There's some things that we don't agree on, but for the most part we agree. And it would always be the things that we agree on, like we would get attacked for on Facebook. On YouTube as well, but I didn't really ever post on YouTube as much. And I don't get any pushback really on Gab. And I think that's because on Gab, there's not really... I mean, there's rules. You can't, like, abuse children, show pornography, you know, do drugs, stuff like that. But you can pretty much say whatever you think and how you feel. So there's not a whole lot of like cancellation or whatever. So a lot of the more intelligent people, and I'm using the word intelligent here in my own definition of it, you know, because Democrats like to change definitions to suit what they're talking about, so that the word means what they want it to mean in the time that they're saying it. So that's what I'm using right now. I'm changing the word intelligent, not to mean so much IQ, but to mean reality versus fantasy. Like if you said that there is no such thing as gender, I would say you're not intelligent. If you said if you're born a boy, you are a boy, I would say you're intelligent. That's what I'm using in the word, saying that I just don't think that the world is very intelligent. anymore. And that is the meaning that I want that word to have in the moment that I'm using it right now. Um, so I can kind of look at viewers live. So for right now, like I can tell nobody's watching. But for anybody who might stumble across this later, which is probably not that many, but I could tell also on YouTube and anywhere else that I stream, which those are my only two options at the moment, unfortunately. And I don't have any friends really. So when I want to talk about stuff, I just have to come on YouTube or Facebook and go live and talk. But so I'm getting off topic. So I knew that there wasn't anybody watching when I was over on YouTube live, right? And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. To me, it's a bad thing because that means I don't have a whole lot of interaction on YouTube or Facebook, but that's not anything new. All my interaction really comes from Gab and the hit or miss on Spotify. But I know I went live a little bit on Facebook before I switched over to YouTube. And I do that to kind of try to, because this is where, quote unquote, my friends and family are, right? So I do that to kind of try to pull from them over to YouTube to try to push the traffic that way. But it doesn't really work because, like I said, I really don't have any friends. So it doesn't really work. And when people watch on Facebook and I talk about, well, I used to be able to talk about things. When I talked about the things that was going on in the news that I knew people wanted to hear, I had people watch and people comment and interact. Like if I would talk about Joe Biden being stupid per se, people would watch, they would interact, they would listen. Some of them would say, hey, you cuss too much, yada yada yada. But here's the thing about that: if you don't like the cussing or whatever, you don't have to watch. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you don't have to watch. Hence, nobody watching. The other option there is buy your own fucking shit, because this shit's not cheap. So I can get on here and say whatever the fuck I want. But that's still getting off topic. Anyways, I would like people to watch the last video that I did live on YouTube, but I don't know if it's a good idea, because sometimes I talk about things that happen, and like I say, I want to try to get away from the tragedy moment, caught up in the hype that everybody uses to kind of work the algorithm in their favors. I want to talk about what I want to talk about. And since I get nobody watching, then I'm going to keep it that way. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about, because if it's not helping with viewership, then it shouldn't matter. I'm not going to talk about what other people want to talk about and it not help me any way, shape, or form. But the video I just did on YouTube, I think has the potential to, if a lot of people were to watch it, I could see it potentially like going somewhere, but not necessarily for a good reason. For me anyways. Like I don't think people would call me up and be like, oh man, I seen that last video you did on YouTube. It was a really good video, and the reason I didn't do it on Facebook is because, well, on Facebook you guys don't even get through the intro song. I use that. The reason I do an intro song is because as much as I know that you guys have a really short attention span, it's to check audio. It's to make sure that the live's working because my internet's shitty and all these things are this and that. So I need that time because I don't want to sit here and talk for an hour and it be garbage. I've done that way too many times and I don't want to do it anymore. So that's why I do the intro song, and I usually have one or two people hop on and they hear the intro song and then they bounce. So that's why I started doing the counter. And the counter didn't make a difference. They still bounce afterwards. So, but one of the main reasons, anyways, that I didn't really go into the topic that I was talking about on tonight's episode of the Death by Tyranny podcast is because even for the title, friends and family, right? I don't think any of them would really agree. And even if they agreed with me, I don't think they would have liked how I worded it. And so when I got done with the video, it was a pretty short video. And like I said, I think, I don't know why on Gab, because I've uploaded videos that are like 2 hours long and they've posted. But if I keep it under the hour mark, they seem to be loading again. So I wanted to kind of rush through what I had to say on YouTube so I could post it to Gab. But I ended up doing it faster than I thought. It was like a 22-minute video, which I don't like short content. I know a lot of people do. That's why TikTok's famous. That's why the clips are really popular. Because people want, the 30 seconds and then they're gone. Well, like I said, I think I'm intelligent. I like to, when I get intrigued, I want to know more. I want to go in depth. I want to have a conversation, right? I don't just want your 30-second bullshit, whatever fact that I'm probably going to forget or that's irrelevant anyways. So it sucks that the video is only 22 minutes, but I guess that's still a significant amount of time to most of you fuckers. And for YouTube, that's actually fairly long as well. But as in the podcast format, it's fairly short. Usually, if you're going to do a podcast, it's at least going to be a half an hour. I'd say the average is probably somewhere in between the 1 to 2 hour mark. But because this video, I think, has the potential to be so controversial for myself, I don't think people are going to watch it on YouTube. And maybe, just maybe, in the moment, if I redo it here, somebody could potentially come on while I'm doing it live. And I think it is so controversial, that if they heard me say it live, that they would go tell somebody else. And even if they didn't do that, they would write in the comments, "You don't know what you're fucking talking about." And as soon as they do that, that's in turn engagement. And then Facebook is more likely to bump that up. If somebody's looking on Facebook, what is live right now, they'll bump my video up because it's getting engagement, right? But there's enough people in the world that probably is a long shot as well. All right. So, what did I say that was so controversial? Well, I will tell you this. It didn't have so much to do with Will Smith smacking Chris Rock. I know that it's a big deal because who did it, who got smacked, and where it happened. And I think that the biggest victim here is Will Smith. I know he did it, right? He could have stopped himself from doing that, but I think that Jada Pinkett Smith is such an evil person. I really do believe that she is so in touch with Satan himself that she has this massive power of manipulation over Will Smith. And I know what you might be thinking as well. You might say, well, Jada's been married to Will Smith for a long time. If she was manipulating him, wouldn't that have come out sooner? And I think it has. It just hasn't come out to the extent in which it did the other night. And I don't think it's came out in a place like it did the other night. And I also believe that Will Smith is such a good person that his whatever you believe in, if you don't believe in God, if you don't believe in spirits, if you don't believe in karma, his aura, whatever you believe in, I think Will Smith has spent the majority of his life doing good things for unfortunate people, for better people than he thinks of himself, and in a good way for so long that he was able to fight off Jada's evil spirits. Okay? So I think that's why we didn't see Will Smith do something like this sooner than what we seen him do it last night or the night before, whenever it was. They might pre-record that. I'm not sure. Either way, I say that Will Smith is the biggest victim here because in the time, in the moment, right, everybody's seen it. It was on, national television. It didn't really seem to faze Chris Rock. I'm sure any other man, it would have hurt his pride. But because it was Will Smith that smacked him, Chris Rock would have been the asshole if he would have done anything back, because everybody knows Will Smith is that good of a person. And I think mostly everybody agrees that Will Smith has to be in such a very dark, dark place for him to do something that crazy. And that is what I wanted to talk about on the podcast. That is what I think is so controversial. I think that a lot of people can say over a large amount of time of being under that much pressure, that famous, under that many eyeballs, that can cause anybody to crack. I do not believe that is what happened here. I think that Will Smith is used to it. He was damn near raised in it. And if anybody can handle the pressure, it is Will Smith. However, I think that Will Smith was raised in a good home by good people. I think he spent the betterment of his life trying to be a better person and surrounding himself with better people, the best people. I also believe that at some point in his life when he ran into Jada, maybe emotions were involved there. Maybe there was some attraction there. I think it was Jada using Will Smith for his fame and his wealth to, get involved and to end up having kids, because after that, right, she knows she's got him hooked. That's how we have built this society. For as much as women want to claim that the world is misogynist and that men take advantage of women, and I always say there's always nuance. I'm not saying that men don't take advantage of women. I'm sure there are those cases. Like I said, there are evil people in this world, regardless of gender, religion, creed, culture, whatever. But I think that for as much as this victim culture wants to say that men take advantage of women, and they can use this, a woman can't rape a man physically. They can't take advantage. Well, that's kind of going out of the window when you talk about transgender. Anyways, now you're going to have 300-400 pound grown-ass dudes that claim to be women that are going to take advantage of men. So, for one, that's going out the window. And for two, I'm not really talking about physically taking advantage, even though I guess there is some physical aspects to this scenario. We have laid out the groundwork. Not even laid out the groundwork. We've built the 100-story skyscraper that if you're a woman and for whatever reason you become pregnant, you pretty much own that man. They would like to write books and reach back into a time where maybe this was the case, but it's not, sure in the fuck not anymore, where that if you had a child by a man, that you were that man's property. That may have been the case at some point in time, but not anymore. But they still like to use that playbook. And this is something that SJWs, liberals, Democrats, whatever you want to call them, I call them fucking narcissists, but whatever you want to call them, they have to do. Because for as much as they want to say that the world is misogynistic, as much as they want to say that there is no equality, as much as they want to say that the world's racist, none of those things are true. And at the point in time in America where those things became an issue, to the point where everyone was aware, middle class white America is normally where it started. Middle class white man America is usually where the change really started to take place. When it came to racism, obviously that was affecting, blacks and other minorities. But once enough of the good people in America noticed, that's when it changed. Well, you guys also don't want to let us to forget, and I doubt we ever will until we're no longer, that's the case, that white men are the majority in this country. So once the majority of the country said, hey, this is an issue, it changed. Now, I'm not saying that white middle-class American men are the only reason that those things changed, but once those people that they like to blame all their problems on totally grasp the concept, that's when those things change in America. Well, since it's equal, since racism really doesn't exist, at least not towards minorities anyway, since there isn't really any, men vulgarly taking advantage in the wide open area, bitch smacking women and, ripping their dresses out in public, since none of this is really happening that the public is aware of. I'm not saying that, bitches aren't getting drugged and raped in the back room. That is illegal, right? We've made that illegal. We've made this publicly unacceptable. But for what is publicly acceptable, none of this shit is happening anymore. None of it is publicly acceptable. So, for Black Lives Matter, for SJWs, for all these Democratic podcasts that come on and use their victimhood to reap the riches of that victim lifestyle and pretty much prey on good-hearted people for them to give their hardworking money to those people that haven't done a damn thing except read a history book and claimed that it is still happening. This is what they will always have to do. This is why America will never be equal. This is why men will always be misogynistic. This is why America will always be racist. Not because it is a fact, but because the people who benefit from it, the victims, I don't want to say victims because I'm sure there are real victims, but the supposed victims, the victim organizations need them to survive in order for them to make a living. They cannot let it die. I'm not very good with names, but the guy, the black guy that always plays God in certain movies, he's an older guy. He always said, if you want racism to die, stop talking about it. This is very much true. This is the truth. If, we got rid of putting color in front of things, racism would die very quickly. Uh, it just is what it is. It's not alive and well in America. It's being kept on life support by those who feed off of it, like organizations like Black Lives Matter. Now, just like the same evil, dumb bitches who started Black Lives Matter, those kind of people are all over the United States. And those people are why this is so prevalent in the United States, why normal Americans think that it is such a big deal. I just opened my Telegram, and the first message that I seen, said from my buddy that used to come on these and do these lives with me. It said, not that we have a transgender hate problem. Not that anybody gives a fuck about transgender people. But what we do have is we have too many people saying that's just the way it is nowadays. No, it's not. The way that people perceive things to be right now is not how they are. It is perceived that way because gatekeepers like Black Lives Matter, gatekeepers like Jada Smith. That's why I say what I said on YouTube was controversial, not because I was defending Will Smith. What I was doing is pointing out that I think Will Smith is in a terrible place. I think that smack could have just as easily been him committing suicide, heaven forbid, knock on wood. I truly do. I think that he is in that bad of a place. Why? Because he is married to a person like I'm talking about. Like every fucking cunt on The View, that all they do is go on national television every single day and search out victims so that they can profit off of their perceived victimhood. That is the reality in America. Not that's just what's normal today. No. Everybody wanting to be a victim is normal today. That is it. Not everybody is being made a victim. Everybody wants to be a victim. You might think I sound crazy, but it's true. 30 years ago, a black person would tell you, you hit the lottery. You're white, you're a man, you're middle class, you're golden. It's the total opposite today. Why? Because there is so much money to be made off of being a fucking victim. Being a victim, or not being a true victim of murder or something, but being a perceived victim, having a card that can be played in the victim role can literally save your job. You can literally do shit that no other person can do and then play that card. And you can say that I'm wrong all you want. I'm right. Even if you are, that middle class, ditzy, leftist, white girl with dyed blue hair that wants to champion everything that is SJW, even they know. To the point where they will also play cards that they themselves don't even hold. I've seen it. I know heterosexual women that claim the lesbian card. Why? Because they know it works. Because they're an SJW and because they have seen it worked far too many times for their friends. And so now it's cool. So don't sit here, and this goes for everything. So don't come in here and try to tell me that the reason that there are more gay kids now, the reason that there are more kids that want to be transgender is because it's more acceptable. No, none of that shit is true, okay? The reason those numbers keep growing is because the perceived qualifications that come with that, the cards that they can play with that. You know, when you see a 2-year-old scream and throw a fit until they get what they want, well, now teenagers are figuring out that if they can't get what they want, if they weren't dealt the hand that they want in life, they can play the transgender card. They can play the gay card. That is what is wrong in this country now. People that don't even have the cards to play are playing those cards. The job of being a professional victim is a thing now. That is what is wrong with America today. Far too many people got up and tried to defend Will Smith for defending his wife. First, if you can't handle a joke, you probably shouldn't go to an award or comedy show where you know if you are a high-profile person that you're going to be made fun of. Two, I've heard that Chris Rock didn't even know the bitch was sick. Her hair's been bald for a very, very long time. Three, there was multiple other comedians that pointed out that he could have made far worse jokes that would have hurt far more than just making fun of that bitch's bald head. They could have called her a whore, which she is. They could have called her a professional victim, which she is. They could have called her an SJW. The crowd would have cheered because most of those cunts there are SJWs. But that also is true. There was plenty of truth cards to be played and jokes to be told that would have stung a lot deeper. And I just don't buy it. I don't buy this defending Will Smith for standing up for his wife. First off, you have to act like a wife to be defended like a wife. If you're going to act like a whore, talk like a whore, smell like a whore probably, it's probably a fucking whore. Not to mention, I've said this multiple places now on live air, she has said that she is a whore. So don't claim that you're a whore and then expect for your husband to defend you like that. And he only defended her because she demanded it of him. She manipulated it out of him because she is that fucking evil. Instead of just taking a little bit of a joke on the chin like the dumb bitch should have done, she decided to ruin her husband's career, which is a millions more of a career than that bitch's career ever will be. Decided to have him destroy his career, which probably pays for everything that bitch has, other than what she's probably gotten from claiming to be a victim. Throw it all away to show everybody else how important I am. That's what she did. That should be the headline, not Will Smith smacking Chris Rock. But let's all talk about how conceited, how narcissistic, how evil of a person Jada Pinkett Smith is. That is what we should all be talking about. That is what my video on YouTube was about. And the reason I talked about it and that we are more so a political podcast is because, like I said, this plays into something bigger. Jada is not the only person. There are millions more like her gatekeeping society in the United States. The United States government is full of them. Hollywood is almost nothing but them. And now you can only really obtain wealth if you decide to become a part of them. That's going to be the downfall of America. The downfall of America is there's too many good people left in this country that refuse to be like that. And there's going to come a point where that battle's going to happen. It's not poor against rich. It's not black against white. It's people like Jada Pinkett Smith against people like Will Smith. And you're going to see a smackdown just like you fucking seen the other day. That's what's going to happen in the United States. The good people of America are finally going to break, and we're going to smack the fucking shit out of all the Jadas in the world. So, with that, doesn't look like anybody watched this one either. So, love you guys. Stay safe. Stay prepared. God bless. America first. Peace, y'all.